Hi, I'm Audrey Chapman. Welcome back to this week's FaceTime Live. Today's Tuesday, the 11th of October, and I'm very happy to be here to answer another one of the questions that came through a couple of weeks ago from those of you who are watching the posts the week before last. One of the big questions that came through was what was my inspiration behind writing my book, Love Selling: How to Sell Without Selling Out. And for me, to be able to answer that question in a small amount of time is going to be quite challenging, because actually it took probably 2 or 3 decades for me to finally get to a focus point of realizing the message that I wanted to get out. So let me explain what I mean by that. As I mentioned yesterday, my sales career has spanned 2 or 3 decades, which has involved working within the corporate world in the UK and also in startups and small businesses, medium-sized business, pretty much a full span, if you like, of business situations. And there's always been a special place in my heart for those who had to sell because it was their job to sell and yet hated it or were terrified of it. There's always, as I said, there's always been this sort of special place in my heart. And you probably think, well, okay, maybe I'm talking to you, maybe you're one of those people, or maybe you are a salesperson and you love it. But what I discovered over this period of time, that whether it was in a corporate setting and somebody who was actually considered a professional salesperson, didn't always mean that they were happy doing what they were doing. Sometimes they felt that they had to sell out in order to just do what the company was expecting them to do as a basic job. Yet on the other side of the scales, there were the individuals who may have a fantastic product, might have a fantastic local business. There might be a craftsman, there might be an artist, there might be a Reiki teacher, a whole sort of gamut, manufacturing, whatever. And they also found it difficult to sell. And they felt awkward or embarrassed or pained by the whole process. And it's around about a few years ago, probably about 3 or 4 years ago, that all of this crystallized into me realizing that, of course, the bottom line of this wasn't an actual real fear, an inability to be able to perform. It was performing against the perception of what a salesperson ought to be. So what do I mean by that? Unfortunately, rightly or wrongly, often sales gets a very bad rap. You know, you're sort of almost, you could possibly be a psychopath or a sociopath if you willingly go into sales. It's not the job that many people feel comfortable or excited going home and saying, hey, you know, mom and dad, I decided to go into sales. And most parents say, oh, you know, poor you, maybe one day you'll get a proper job. And in fact, they couldn't be far from the truth. However, this creates a perception of what it's like to be a good salesperson. So over time, the layers of what it takes to be a good salesperson almost equals you need to be without feeling, you need to be all these different things, you need to be selfish, it's all about close, 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 you know, get the deal, get the deal, get the deal. When in fact, in my opinion, it's quite the opposite to that, which I'll cover at another time. But can you imagine what it's like, whether you're an individual or sole trader, whether you're in a corporate, huge organization, and you have this perception as well of being afraid of sales, or feel awkward, or feel that you're being selfish by potentially promoting the products and services you've got. You have this horrible vicious circle that if I'm good at sales, it must mean that I'm one of those people that I perceive to be a good salesperson, which is all these nasty, horrible things. And so I don't want to do that. I don't want to be good at sales, which means that I won't do sales, which means that my business is either going to go bust or fizzle out or whatever. So there was this like vicious circle. That's what's inspired me to write this book, because it's absolutely not about that. To me, and I have a lot of experience over a number of years of when sales is absolutely beautiful and you create a space where you've got the most amazing connection and you're able to give somebody something that they really, really want. They live happily ever after, and guess what? So do you. So it's more about buying than actually selling. But that's why I wrote the book, because I don't want individuals to have to go through the pain of a business failing, of their sales performance not being what they needed to be in the team, for really, there's no good reason for that. So that's at the heart of this. There's also, of course, a whole group of people that are very good at selling and love selling and don't have that perception of selling. And many of them are very tired and worn out by the same old close, close, close. You know, it's like bang, bang, bang all the time. It's just so wearing. There's another way. There's a far more dignified way, which I'd like to share with you during the rest of this week. So hopefully that's given you a little bit of an inspiration as to why I wrote this book. And I look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Take care. Have a great rest of the day wherever you are.